Thank you all so much. Thank you all for coming. Good to see a lot of familiar faces. Yeah, War and Peace. I did a combat tour in Vietnam without actually being shot at by anybody intentionally. The armorer on board the ship that I was on got careless with a weapon and managed to miss several of us, but that was probably the closest. That and a Marine who rigged a booby trap with a grenade one day, and I was lucky enough to find it. Yeah, fun times. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to start out with a poem by Julie Isaacson, who was unable to make it today, and I thought was very fitting for the occasion. What words? How many choirs to preach to? How many phrases to call out the unjust? How many deaths and wars in the name of values? How many travesties? How do we polish the gold in the golden rule, so shiny we can see our mirrored image? In the teaching of faiths, justice, justice shall you pursue, Deuteronomy. O you who believe, be upright for God and be bearers of witness and justice, the Quran. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male or female, for you are all one, Galatians. What are the magical awakening words that will align us? Who are the others? Every other born to a mother. And yet, fear, hate. How? Where? Why is there so much hate that grows and multiplies? Multiplies to divide. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Deneau. Adds to subtract our souls from our bodies and minds. Beyond the lyrics, stand to teach each other well in our hearts. Family, community, country. Embrace love as climate change. High flight. No, this is from Julie Isaacson.
Oh, Julie.
Yeah, she couldn't make it today. I happened to see the poem. She said she was going to read it if she was able to make it, and I said, yes. I got you covered. And
I knew I had seen it.
I think it fits very well. Yeah. High flight. Per ardua et astra. 0400, 04 dark. Just before Christmas, our Lord's year 1941. The squadron Batman, Harris, pours the last cup, lifts the wooden tea tray with silent care, and starts the rounds of the officers' rooms. Time to get up, sir. Briefing in an hour. These are the flying officers. The sergeant pilots wake themselves in the class-structured society of combat. The old man, the intelligence folks, the Met folk and the like have all been up since midnight if they slept at all. Harris stops at the door to McGee's room, pauses, shakes his head, walks down the hall. It's too easy to forget, to want to wake the man boy, 19, with wings on his chest, blood on his wings, the time's strange mix of poetry and violence in his blood. The fitters and fuelers, sheet metal men and armorers have been hard at it since sunset. The Luftwaffe will be back in the sky today. The Spitfires need to be ready to rise high and bring the Germans low, killing those who would drop death across England. McGee's fitter helps where he's needed, doing what he can to get the others ready. He has no aircraft to repair, no pilot to ease into the cramped cockpit, tightly harness, wish luck. Flying Officer McGee is dead in an accident, scarcely a month after his first combat. Thank you. John McGee wrote one of the more famous poems from the Second World War called High Flight. Can't remember most of it, but up the long delirious winds, eagle's wings I swept. Yeah. It's time we talked. Takes an epigram from Ian Tyson's Four Strong Winds. I wish you'd change your mind if I ask you one more time, but we've been through this 100 times or more. Yes, that talk again. For more than 1 trillion times again, since before the people who came before the people who came before, since before you thought I was he or she, back when I was everything, in everything. Look at them. These mothers are me. Listen to them. To the sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, to the ones who were simply the simplest of friends. My voice has always been different, but the words will always be the same. Pay attention this time. Have you seen this soldier? He should have returned to us. I would music make once more. When the last sun has fallen, there will be a need for bards to sing dirges and old lullabies, to remember lives cut short. I will set down my useless rifle, take my guitar in wearied hands, and play a saint's procession to lead them to our hearts. When the last shell is fired, there will be silence unknown during the years of fighting, and a need to honor it. I will find a whole piano miraculously in the rubble, and play a gentle melody so babes may peaceful sleep. When the last war is over, there will be no parade to celebrate the peace, no dancing in the streets. I will stand atop my tank and play the violin, a requiem for all that have and has been lost. Old woman with photograph. My husband was fighting in Italy. I have a photograph, him marching, taken on the road from the beach. I hadn't seen him for 6 months and didn't see him for another 7. You were in London on a weekend pass. I have a photograph of us dancing, taken when my friends and I stepped out. I'd never seen you before that evening, and I never saw you after that. I know the rest of my husband's story. I have boxes of photographs, us laughing, holidays with the children, their weddings. He passed a week before turning 80, and my love for him is still strong. But of you, my handsome young Yankee pilot, I only have that photograph, us laughing. A corner of my faithful heart is still yours. No danger to my husband or our children. And I think I'd rather that were all I know. Our oldest grandson, my wife just came in. The one who keeps me going. Our oldest grandson did a tour in Afghanistan, and he was the driver as a Marine policeman of the lead truck in the convoys, the one with the mine roller on it. His truck got blown up 4 times, and he ran over the most mines and IEDs during his deployment of any of the other truck drivers when they didn't explode. So this comes from that. IED, QED. Depleted uranium is still on the periodic table. It waits there for you. Or you can search if you feel prompted. The tap of your fingers will seem a sudden silence as the sun sets. Zep's stairway issued from a boombox. Above and behind you at the 50, the new guy screams along off-key. You holler something to him and miss the signal from the sensor. The shell was stolen from a stockpile. It took 4 men to hide it in your path. Even as I run from my truck to yours, I know there's no reason to hurry. Heavy metal thunder echoes from the hills. There's screaming, but no climbing notes to match. Your dog tags, wrapped like mourning bands for silence, weigh more than worlds upon my palm. The sounds of war. Beaver Dam Lake, August 1956. I climb down from the dock the way a new colt stands up. Somehow I settle in the boat, rocking its green wood without turning it turtle, without a sudden swim. I'm 8 next week. My hand trails in the water. The sound of the lake mixes is part and parcel with oars, outboards, reels singing, fish leaping, bright laughter. South China Sea, September 1968. I step out on the catwalk, sea-legged and confident. Settling on the radar platform, setting tools on its gray paint, I look across the flight deck to the chaplain and the body. I've just turned 20. Their hands are anointed red. The sound of the sea is dim beneath the throb of rotor blades, gunfire from the beach, the whisper of absolution. True story. I still have my nightmares once in a while about that kid. He was probably a year younger than me, like a lot of the Marines were. Done crossing Europe, 1945. Ernie's got a favorite letter out of all the ones his wife sent. The first one he got after Omaha and the battle to get off the beach. Our daughter's arrived, it starts, and she already has your smile. He's read it twice a day and passed it around so often we know it all by heart. Regardless of how tenderly it's been handled, carefully it's been opened and refolded, small tears were bound to come. It's the second day of April. There's a sniper down the road. There will be a telegram, and no matter how Lizzie handles it, the paper will be full of tears. Leavings. After the letter, a collage by Carolyn Penor, one of the ISPS meetings within our group up there in the suburbs. After the chaos of battle, when the silence is gigantic and the birds return from hiding, after the wounded are tended, treated and taken away, or freed from pain forever, after the captain rides to the rear, making his report to the colonel, who will let the general know, the dead call for us to gather them, to separate them and identify them for the benefit of those who they've left. They call for us to gather belongings, to bear witness that these shattered were once whole, heard, thought of, along with final letters never mailed. I'm going to give you one last piece for now. The crosses at Arlington this afternoon only seemed to go on forever, blending in my mind's eye with the fields of other military cemeteries I've walked, the many seen in photographs and films across the years. They roll on in my memory now like ocean whitecaps, seen by a child from 8,000 feet above, or from the signal bridge of a small carrier in mid-ocean 10 years later, or perhaps a forest of intentional beech trees towering in their quest for heaven, seen from the center still later. The difference being the crosses should never have happened. As an afterword, I came home from Vietnam in March of 1969 to a month-old baby, a wife who I'd been married to for 11 months and hadn't seen for 9 months. And 2 years later, I was discharged from the service as a conscientious objector. And that is probably, next to the wife and the kids and the grandkids and the great-granddaughter, my proudest accomplishment so far in 75 years. Thank you all very much.